think I'm getting old. I know you're getting old, but why? Well, the Leafs lost and I didn't like it. Profound, continue. But their big guy didn't even fight our big guy. The Leafs still probably would have lost the game. I know, but it would have made me feel better about it, and now I'm agreeing more with my uncles. Let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do. I'm having a great finger flick. You're allowed to show up. This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills. With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Well, there's no victory puppies because they lost, so Iggy's gonna starve. Just kidding, he lives in a house with a 4-year-old, a 7-month-old, and a dude with no willpower. He is well fed. Leafs lose 4-1 at the hands of the New York Rangers. And you know what? How you feel about this game, about this loss specifically at this early juncture of the season, says a lot about the type of fan you are. This is the first video of the season, five games, right? Where I want to talk less about the actual game itself and more about what it means. Because I actually think we can get through the game pretty quickly. It's October. It's October! It's October! We know it's October! Was the Colorado Avalanche's game against the Anaheim Ducks last night actually must win? No. Kinda felt like it though. You haven't won a game yet this season. You're down 2-0 to the Ducks. And all of a sudden, it kind of feels like you should maybe win this one at home. Of course, they come back and win it in overtime because Nathan MacKinnon decided to go 1-on-3 because he's an animal. And all of a sudden, things aren't going great in Colorado, but you definitely feel better about everything. Now, the Leafs don't have quite that same situation going on, but this is a big game. It's a Hockey Night in Canada game. That matters. It's an original 6 matchup. That matters. And it's a battle between two teams who are off to a really good start. That matters. Leafs lost their first game of the season with 47 shots and they got shut out, but then they rattle off 3 straight wins and a bunch of guys with zeros attached to their name all wrecked it. They're fine now. Then there's the Rangers, who have basically no complaints about the start of their season, and they haven't lost yet. Not in regulation, they haven't. And according to Gary Bettman, that means you didn't lose, you half won. The team that loses this game leaves the building with 3 wins and 2 losses. It's not exactly a 3-2 record, but it's 3 wins and 2 losses. The team that wins this game leaves with 4 wins and 1 loss, and boy, is that different. There were a couple days leading up to this, Thursday off, Friday off, and in the whole lead up, we're talking about this game as a measuring stick game. Leafs lost it. Didn't lose it by a huge, wide margin that we're all concerned about. They didn't get blown out of their own building. Yes, it was 4-1. 2 of them were empty netters. Fart. But they did lose. How'd they lose? Well, let's talk about it. The 2 goals that the Rangers did score on a goalie were both screwy plays. One was a fluke, and the other was by the Leafs' own mistakes. First goal, Rangers have it down low, and they go to bring it to the point, which Mitch Marner reads, and he's like, I'm gonna follow the puck to the point. Well, the puck doesn't go to the point, at least not right away. It actually hits one of the guys wearing black and white. Not a Leaf, not a Ranger, but someone who's calling the game. That screws up Marner. That allows the puck to go to the point more cleanly. It allows the Rangers to get a more clean look at what they want. Chaos ensues. Vinny Trocheck gets a good tip on it. Stolarz makes a really good save, but there's still chaos in front. After all that screwiness, can I just show you what it looked like right before Lafreniere put it in the net? There it is. Does that look like a team that knows what's going on? OEL and Kampf not even facing the right direction. One dude wide open, and it's not even the guy who scored. Oh, never mind, the guy who scored is wide open. None of it went well. That one beat Stolarz. Lafreniere, stay hot. I knew this was gonna happen. I have him on my fantasy team. I have him as a breakout player, but I had the option to put in JT Miller, and I didn't want Lafreniere to score against the Leafs, so I put in Miller, and then he got hurt off the opening faceoff. Did he go back in the game? He did. Did he do anything? No. 1 shot and 3 hits. Thanks for coming out. It's a new phone case. Now the Leafs are down 1-0 and I'm sad. But it's okay, I don't have to be sad for long. This line that I really like this line. Domi with Nylander and McMahon. I like all 3 of those guys. They go wee towards the net. They have more guys than the other guys. It's called an odd man rush. They have a real good chance here. William Nylander, he's coming in. He's got Max Domi with him. Nylander, who you think is going to shoot, passes to Domi. Whatever Domi was doing, shot, pass, I'm not sure, got blocked, and the puck goes the other way. And the puck stays the other way. Domi goes off, McMahon goes off, but not everyone goes off. Nylander is stuck out there and gassed. Tavares is out there and slow, and we'll get to that later. And Holmberg, I love the guy, but he's out there and clueless. They take a penalty, as you will do when you are in a scenario where someone is slow and also clueless. The Rangers toy with their food, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is so bad in front. Kreider's right there, and Morgan Rielly is also right there, but not in the same way. The way Kreider is right there is in a way that allows his team to score. The way Morgan Rielly is there is he's there. There are two Rangers that he could take. He chose neither. I know these things happen fast, and that's maybe a low percentage pass that Kreider received, but oof, Maroon. That goes in. That beats Stolarz, who had a heck of a night, and it's 2-0 Rangers after 2. Is it a disaster? No. There's the one screwy goal, and there's the one that it's straight up, it's bad. But Shesterkin has robbed the Leafs several times. The Leafs power play is 0 for 2, but it's looked somewhat dangerous. They're getting chances. So let's see what they do in the third. Well, in the third, they have a power play, and it stinks, and it really stinks. It stinks so much that the head coach, Craig Berube, highlighted it. We'll talk about that later, because credentialed Leafs reporter Jesse Blake was at the game. Yes, we are going to find more ways to loop that into the content, because, dude, it rules. But enough about that. You're frustrated, you don't want to be down 2-0, but you got to bury your opportunities. They get an opportunity in the third, and it's their worst power play of the season, possibly, and there's some company there. That is a tough list to crack. Like, that's a tough list to get bronze on. And now it's starting to feel like they're never going to score. Now it's starting to feel like the Colorado Avalanche against the Anaheim Ducks in that game where it's like, how the heck do we get this done? And exactly what happened in Colorado is what the Leafs needed. Nathan MacKinnon went 1-on-3 and just took out the Ducks on his own. On this play, Austin Matthews, like that is a captain's goal. A goal scorer's goal, like a man's goal. Takes it down low. There's a guy on me, there's not a guy on me anymore. Goes out front, snipes it on the best goalie in the league like it's nothing. It's only his second of the season, but you know what? I have this hunch that he's going to be just fine, and the Leafs are on the board. Still in the third period, William Nylander, who the hockey gods thoroughly wedgied this evening, couldn't buy one, fires a shot point blank on Igor Shesterkin. It catches the bottom lip of Shesterkin's glove, slides 5-hole through Shesterkin. One of 2 shots all night that went through Shesterkin, and it bounced wide. It went 5-hole on him and wide! Nylander also sort of gave it away on the first empty netter. We're not going to focus too hard on the second empty netter, other than Artemi Panarin had a breakaway, and he chose to slide it into the net, which means Morgan Rielly didn't have to kick him in the bottom. And that's it for your hockey game. Now, you lose a 2-1 game 4-1. You can look at it that way if you want to be an optimist. You can also say, it's game number 5. I'm not going to get worked up about it. And you know what? There have been games over the years. I can remember another game. I don't know why Anaheim keeps coming up. A game against the Ducks just a few years ago. The Leafs were actually playing pretty well, but they lost a bad one to the Ducks. They coughed it up. I think they were up 3-1, and they end up losing the game, and it's the Ducks. They stunk. I lost my mind, and people said I was overreacting. Another one very early in the season, and another one, now that I think of it, with Sheldon Keefe as the head coach, Leafs, early game against the Rangers at home, and Igor Shesterkin stopped them. And even though the Leafs vastly outshot the Rangers that night, if I'm not mistaken, they had over 40 shots on him. And people just went, well, you know, you got goalied. And I was like, no, you didn't. Because I looked at it and I'm like, dude, like the saves he had to make weren't even difficult. The saves Shesterkin had to make in this game were more difficult. Like he had to make 2 or 3 saves that were more difficult in this game than they did in that one from years ago. And Sheldon Keefe, after the game, the Leafs head coach at the time, was talking about how they made it too easy. The looks on Shesterkin were too clean. Fast forward 2 or 3 years. Craig Berube, after the game, credentialed Leafs reporter Jesse Blake, what did he say? Berube talking about the difference tonight, and in quotes, I think we can do a better job of taking Igor's eyes away. We didn't execute. Go to the net. Go to the net. Go to the net! Like, listen, the Rangers are a good team. They're a great team. They move the puck really, really well. This is a good team. They won the President's Trophy last year for a reason. They went to the Eastern Conference Final last year for a reason. Mitch Marner, last game, he had a screen. Leafs scored a goal. That was pretty cool. Igor made a bunch of fancy saves in this one, but a lot of them, almost all of his best ones, they're point blank. And he's one of those guys you're not beating. Most goalies in the NHL, starting goalies, like established above average starting goaltenders. Think Jeremy Swayman. They're not going to be beat by clean looks. You gotta get dirty. You gotta have one go off your ass. You gotta have something, anything that screws them up. Take their eyes away for a moment. Make them do like a little meerkat around you. If you go and look at Igor Shesterkin's best work from this game, he was looking dead at the puck. Didn't have to get around nothing. The last coach begged and pleaded with this team for years to be the type of team that doesn't do that. And they didn't do it. And then last year against the Bruins, you saw it in the Amazon documentary. If you've watched the documentary, they didn't do it. New guy is here. Oh, the Leafs look different. Well, I agree. I've been saying that for the last few games. But here is a game, here is an example of them doing the same thing. And if they were going to play like this and make Igor's night so easy on him, they could have just kept the last guy. And Berube knows that, and he's not going to tolerate it. I think the next couple days are going to be miserable for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Look, the other way you can look at it is this quote from Austin Matthews, again from Jesse Blake. Matthews compliments Igor post-game. Says he always seems to come up with big saves when his team needs it. Again, watch the Amazon documentary, watch the goals the Leafs gave up, and weep. Anthony Stolarz, also complimentary of Shesterkin. You can see why he's going to be the highest paid goalie in the league. Hats off to him. I love how goalies around the NHL are like campaigning for Shesterkin to get paid so that, you know, a rising tide raises all boats, or what is that? One of those like old man sayings Adam would say. You know what I mean. Igor gets paid the most that any goalie has ever gotten paid in the NHL, and then all the other goalies get paid more. They're cheering for him. Stolarz signed a 2-year deal. It's not going to be his last deal in the NHL. He wants to get paid too. You can look at it that way and just be like, it's Igor. So here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing. So there's this thing every year. You try to win the Stanley Cup, right? So there's 32 teams. You're one of them. So you have 31 opponents. The 31 teams that are in your way, right? And the Stanley Cup goes to the best NHL team out of those 32. And what's crazy about that is Igor Shesterkin is in the NHL. Blinks slowly. He's in the NHL. Good goalies play in the NHL. Igor didn't even win. I don't know if you noticed that. He didn't even win. You're going to play against good goalies. And that is why you must make their lives difficult. Jeremy Swayman was like half on the beach the entire first round. And Shesterkin's better. The dollar signs will show that. Oh, Swayman had a good run as a tandem goalie. Shesterkin has been a well above league average goalie for more than the last half decade. You got to make his life hard. They didn't make it hard. Is this loss the end of the world? No. But it's a continuation of problems from last year that, at Game 5, you would expect to still be there. But Berube's got to beat this out of them. Beat it out of them like it owes them money. This tendency might be the number one thing keeping them out of the second, third, and fourth round in the playoffs, is their inability to score greasy goals. Greasy goals that don't look beautiful, but they do look like they're in the back of the net. Now, how do we make the team a little better? Well, after this game, if you look at the rotation, Max Pacioretty, who has been healthy scratch for 2 straight games, people over the last couple days were talking about Nick Robertson going into that slot. Wrong. It's going to be Pontus Holmberg, I'm pretty sure. Holmberg got demoted to the 4th line in place of Steven Lorentz, who went up to the 3rd. And another Jesse Blake quote, Berube says Holmberg has to battle a little bit more and is a step behind right now. He also criticized the late third period power play for the Leafs, as they struggle with zone entries there and need to execute on the opportunity. Boy, we keep going through themes that seem to stick around from last year and the years preceding it. One of the things I said on the podcast recently, and I kind of nailed it, is Pontus Holmberg would be more in this conversation about a rotation had he not been a center. Well, Fraser Minton is working his way back from injury. You have John Tavares. You have Max Domi. You could have Matthews, Tavares, Domi down the middle, Kampf on your 4th line, and all of a sudden, You don't need Pontus Holmberg. Not if he's playing like he did tonight, or over the last few games, turning his back to the puck, playing one-handed, losing his guys, losing assignments, and it's not like he shoots the lights out. If you're not great offensively, you got to be great defensively, and if you're not that, what would you say you do here? And the answer is simple. You eat popcorn. It's delicious at Scotiabank Arena, so fret not. Robertson probably stays in the lineup on account of they need goals. McMahon obviously stays in the lineup. They need goals. Pacioretty probably goes back in the lineup. They need goals. Questions. Now I teased it. Here it comes. There's a player who hasn't gotten it from me very hard over the past few years, and tonight I gotta give it to him. From Big Head Leafs, what do you think of Tavares' start to the season? I feel like he's had a really slow start and doesn't look like himself. Do you think he finds his game in the coming weeks? Man, let me tell you something. There's been an illness going through the Leafs locker room. We know this. Guys have been playing through it. Guys always have to play through it. That was another thing that Sheldon Keefe dismissed in his time as a Leaf coach. It's the NHL. It's Ontario. Guys are always playing through something, right? Let's say that's not the case. Like, let's say that's not what's slowing him down, right? John Tavares doesn't look like an $11 million guy. But we already know that. We've made peace with that. It's not really worth dragging up. He's in year 7 of a deal that pays him $11 million per year, and we know he's not worth $11 million anymore. We know that. But it's okay. This was always how the contract was going to age, and here it is. Here we are. But tonight, and in a lot of games, he hasn't not only looked like an $11 million player, he doesn't look like a player you need. That backhander goal that he scored the other night, nasty. He's still got the hands. He can still do some really interesting and incredible and talented things in front of the net, in tight. He can still win board battles. That puck is in open ice, and he's the closest Leaf to it. That play is dead. Dead! It's over. He looks brutal. I'm sorry. Matthews, Marner, Nyes, those three, the way they're playing together, those guys are killers. Killers. Absolutely unbelievable. Domi, Nylander, McMahon. It's a fun line. It makes mistakes. Okay. So Tavares, you give him Robertson. And who else was with him? Oh, that's right. It's the other guy who looks terrible. It's Pontus Holmberg, who's not even playing center. And it's funny because I'm watching the game and I know the narrative around Nick Robertson and is he really going to be in the lineup next game? Is he going to get sat because of the rotation? And I'm watching and I'm like, okay, he had the one scoring chance against Shesterkin. That was kind of cool. Other than that, he hasn't done much. And I think a big part of the reason for that is that line maybe once that entire game had the puck in a position that was dangerous. Nylander can drive a line, and Domi, I don't know about drive a line, but he can be a very good complementary piece. Same with Bobby McMahon. I don't expect him to drive a line, but he's a very good complementary piece. Holmberg, Tavares, Robertson. Who's driving that line? You hope it's the guy who was just your captain. He still wears a letter. He makes $11 million, and most importantly, he wants to stick around. Forget about the $11 million. Let's say it's 5. Let's say he's like, you know what? I want to stick around, and it's going to be 4 years after this for $5 million per. Is he playing like that? Is he playing like a dude you want to give $5 million to? I know my answer. No. If we're looking forward to next year, the Leafs are having extension talks with Marner. Marner's been playing great. He's been playing great. Tavares, like 5? Nah. 6? Oh, for how long? 7? No, I think I'm out at 7. Jeez, I'd rather give the money to Nyes, a dude who I think the longer this goes on might just take Tavares' spot on the top power play unit. We already know Berube's not happy with it. Who's more likely to win a battle in front of the net these days? Huh? Who's more likely to win a battle along the boards these days? And I got news, both those dudes are playing for contracts right now. Nyes is going to be an RFA, Tavares is going to be a UFA, and he wants to stay here. And if he wants to do that, he's got to be miles better than he's been. He doesn't got to be $11 million good. He's just got to be good enough to help the team win. And night in and night out, he's not always that player. That's the harsh reality. He has to be better. Final question, a bit of a palate cleanser. Are you worried that Craig Berube is starting to love that fourth line way too much? Feels like we saw 75 on the ice way too much. I understand the thought. There was one shift in the third period where I was like, geez, they're out late. But other than that, Craig Berube's done an incredible job with the fourth line. Their XG, their expected goals, their possession of the puck has been really, really good. You worry about 75, you worry about Ryan Reeves out there because you're like, well, the other team's probably going to get the puck more often. That hasn't been the case. And a big part of that isn't just their work ethic and attention to detail and all that. It's Craig Berube making sure they're in the offensive zone when they start their shift nearly every time, whether it's a face-off or not. I don't think it's that he overuses the fourth line. I think it's that he uses it extraordinarily well. I don't worry about the fourth line. I don't worry about the first line. Those middle two lines have got to pick up their socks. So, folks, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. I got a book out, Hockey Rants and Raves. And check this out. Producer Drew, can you put me next to me? Look at that. That's a plushie. Yeah, made by U2s. It's really, really nice. And you can buy one. And it's me and Iggy. Hi, Iggy. Wish you could have been in this video because they would have won. That would have been cool. That would have been great. He's not. Maybe next time. Okay? By the way, if you're going to buy this, it takes a few months to ship. So if it's going to be for Christmas, it better be Christmas 2025. Just being upfront. But look, he's adorable.